saving me in Bowers Game Corner. Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game preview, another special Kickstarter preview. And today I'm very excited to check out Resistor from Cardboard Fortress Games. This is for 2 players, ages 8 and up. It'll take you about 20 minutes to play. And in Resistor, you're going to be taking control of a supercomputer, trying to connect your mainframe to your opponent's mainframe and drive their DEFCON levels up. What am I talking about? Let's open it up and check out and see how it works. Alright, and we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Resistor on our grip mat, which turns every game into a space game. Before we get started, I want to mention this is the promotional copy I have in front of me, so take everything you see here with a grain of salt. So, in Resistor, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be playing as a supercomputer trying to overload your opponent's supercomputer during the Cold War, or something like that. You're going to be trying to connect your red lines all the way to your opponent's blue power source supercomputer, because you're going to be controlling supercomputers. Doesn't make any sense to you now, but I'll show you the components and how the gameplay works, and hopefully you'll be able to figure out what's going on here. So first and foremost, we have a handy dandy rule sheet. It is really, really long, but it does a very good job of teaching you how the game is played, and it is a very simple game. You'll probably need this once or twice, and not really need it ever again. Because there's not too many rules in this game on what you can and cannot do. So when you start off the game, you're going to have 7 cards between you and your opponents. So on these cards, you're going to have various different things that are going to be connecting to various different other things. So for instance, you would be connecting these 2 pieces like that, or like this. These are double-sided, and in this game, you're actually only going to know what is on one side of the cards. So your opponents are going to know what's on the other side of the cards because the cards are double-sided, and sometimes there'll be very valuable information on those cards. For instance, this Resistor, which we'll get to later, that you don't know, but your opponent does know. So when you start the game, you're going to set out all 7 cards. You're going to make sure that there's no things called resistors, which are right here, which we'll get into a little bit because they are going to be very, very important because they will help potentially attack your opponents, and they shorten the length of the game substantially. So you're going to set that out. You're going to start with 2 supercomputer cards down here, which will go from DEFCON 1 all the way to DEFCON 4. And as you see, as you get lower, you're going to have less little bars going out at your supercomputer, which means it's going to be harder to attack you, but at the same time, it's going to be much harder for you to attack your opponent. Because the only way to attack your opponent is to have your little bars start here and go all the way to the other end of the board by connecting. So for instance, if we had this to start off with, you would then need to connect a red down here, and then another red, and then another red, and another red, to get all the way down to your opponent's supercomputer, which is really difficult when you first start the game, but as I mentioned, resistors will shorten that up. Next, you're going to be setting up the box in the middle of the deck like this. So the box is actually going to come like this, I do believe, so that you can set it up like this. There's a hole in the front of the box, and you're going to be drawing cards like this, and this way you're not going to be able to see what your opponent can see, which will be, once again, valuable information. The only other thing I want to talk to you about right now is that you're going to have 3 cards out here, because in this game, on your turn, you're going to be taking 3 and only 3 actions. You have to take each and every one of these actions. So let's just say we start the game with 2 cards, because you will start the game with 2 cards. First thing you're going to do is you're going to draw a card and trash one of the cards in your hand. So we'll draw a card, and then we will trash a card. Now, if we're playing as red, we might say, you know what, there's really no reason we want this blue one, so we think we'll trash this blue one. So we look at it and we're like, oh no, we got rid of a really good resistor, potentially. So that kind of stinks, but you never know what you're going to be trashing. So now that we've drawn and trashed a card as an action, we're going to flip that over to symbolize that we have in fact done our action. And once you've done all 3 of your actions, it's going to be the cue for your opponent to know that it is their turn. The next action that you're going to be able to potentially take is switch out a card. So what that means is you're going to be able to take one of these cards in your hand and place it over here on your opponent's hand. So we might say, you know what, I don't like this blue here so close to mine, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one in my hand. And then I'm going to put this one on the board so it can connect towards my opponent. So now I am one step closer to potentially getting all the way over to my opponent's supercomputer. So then I flip that over because I have successfully switched out. The last action that you're going to do on your turn is you're going to flip over one of the cards on the table. So let's say I'm going to keep this train rolling. I'm going to see if I can get lucky right here, and I'm going to flip this bad boy over and see what happens. And whoa! Oh, I almost got lucky. Unfortunately, those two are not directly connected right there. So that card, even though it is a good card for me, it's not going to help me out too much because it's not connected right there. And that would be the end of my turn. And you're going to keep doing that and repeating back and forth until someone's able to eventually destroy the other person's computer. Now you're saying, wow, this game is going to take a really long time. No, because let's get to the resistors. Because what's going to happen is there's quite a few resistors in the deck that are going to pop up. And when one of these pops up, so let's just pretend that we flip this over right here. So let's say we flip that over right there, and boom, we have a resistor. What does that mean? So first thing you're going to do is see if the resistor is attached to anyone's supercomputer. Because if it is, bad things are going to happen to you. So let's just pretend that this resistor was attached to our supercomputer. Can we make that happen? Yeah, actually we can make that happen. No, we can't make it happen. We're just going to pretend that it does. What's going to happen is you're going to have to flip your DEFCON 1 to a DEFCON 2, which is bad. Also, you are going to flip over one of the cards that is connected of the same color. So, for instance, we could flip this card over, and since we're pretending, we could flip this card over. So we'll just say, you know what, we're going to we'll flip this card over right here. And so we do that, and then the resistor is going to go away. So the resistor is now gone, and nothing is going to replace that. What's going to happen is you are going to move everything in one card. So instead of having 7 cards separating you and your opponent's supercomputer, you're going to be having 6 cards separating you and your opponent's supercomputer, which means it's going to be much easier to be able to connect over there and lower their DEFCON levels. And each time you run into one of these, you're going to continue to take cards out of the middle. So the board is going to get shorter, which is going to make it much easier to attack your opponent's supercomputer. So you are going to play this until either all the cards are gone in the middle, which if that happens, you're going to see who is at the lowest DEFCON level, and they are going to win, or you are going to play this until someone gets to DEFCON level 4, and then you attack them one time, in which case they win the game. Most of the time, though, it is going to be because the board just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks, and then that is going to be how it ends. If both players are on the same DEFCON level when the game is over, that is just going to end in a tie. One more thing I do want to mention is you have to make sure that it's at the end of the turn when you attack somebody, because so at the end of your 3 actions, if you can successfully attack someone, then you'll be attacking them and lowering their DEFCON level. And that, in a nutshell, is how you are going to be playing Resistor. Alrighty then, Resistor from Cardboard Fortress Games, coming to a Kickstarter near you very, very soon. Who might be digging this game? First and foremost, if you're looking for a very quick 2-player game, this one might be for you, because this is a very, very quick game. It says 20 minutes. We finished most of our games in 10 to 15 minutes once we knew how the rule set worked, which brings me to another thing that some people might like. If you like very, very simple games to learn and to teach to other people, for a couple or something like that, this one might be for you as well. The rule booklet is very, very simple, understandable, and user-friendly, and you'll have somebody up and running in less than 5 minutes, which for sometimes with spouses who aren't that much into games can be a very good thing. The last group of people who I think might be digging this game are people who like secret information games, because you're never going to know what's on the back of the cards in your hands, and that's going to drive some people crazy. Also, the cards in the middle, you never know what's going to happen. You might flip it over and boom, it's Resistor. Can completely change the game. So if you like secret information games, this one might be for you. Also, if you like things that just look cool sitting on your table, this one definitely does. It has that unique thing where the box is going to stand up, and that looks really, really cool. So that is the Resistor from Cardboard Fortress Games. If it looks like it might be your cup of tea, be sure to click on the Kickstarter link below. Also, in the comments below, let me know, USPS or UPS? I always use USPS. It always seems like it's cheaper. Is there some situation out there where UPS actually is cheaper? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm shipping stuff here and there, and I'd like to know that sort of thing. And as always, if you enjoyed this content, click on the subscribe button down below, and thank you for your time, YouTube. That was the preview for Resistor. For more reviews and previews, check back at Bauer's Game Corner.